these words here. These are kind of like the who, what, when, where, why of Korean. So, 누구, 무엇, 언제, 어디, 왜, and 어떻게. Okay. In Korean, they actually have the same idea as we have in English. In English, we have, the 5 W's or whatever it is. And in Korean, it's actually called 육하원칙. 육하원칙 is the word for these question words in Korean. You don't need to remember that. You don't have to remember the word 육하원칙. Just an interesting little note. Okay, so 누구 means who, 무엇 means what, 언제 means when, 어디 means where means why, and 어떻게 means how. Generally speaking, I'm going to talk about one example where these things don't match English, but we'll go with that for now. Yeah, 육하원칙. This is 육하원칙 in Korean. So, now these words by themselves, you can't use them in Korean because they don't have any formality to them. They're just nouns. If you want to use them in a sentence, you need to add some, for example, present tense. Here are all of these conjugated in present tense. 누구예요? Who is it? 뭐예요? What is it? 언제예요? When is it? 어디예요? Where is it? 왜요? Why? And 어떻게요? How? So if you want to just say a question by itself, you use this box here, not this box. This box is its essential form, its base form. Here it is conjugated in present tense, so you can use these in a sentence. Okay, now, important note to know about 누구. When 누구 is the subject of a sentence, it always becomes 누가. So make sure you always say 누가. Don't say 누구가. 누구가 is not said, it's not used, it always becomes 누가. So 누가 샀어요. 사다 is the verb to buy. 샀어요 is past tense. So this means who bought it. 누가 샀어요? Who bought it? 언제 샀어요? When did you buy it? 왜 샀어요? Why did you buy it? Remember that you don't necessarily need an object in this sentence. In English, we have this it in all of the sentences, but it's not present in the Korean. You've heard more. Yeah. So more by itself is casual language. It's not polite formal language. So if you want to say it in formal language, it would be 뭐예요? Or 무엇입니까? That's like super formal. This is like honorific. But if they say more, it's like what? Like it's a bit blunt. It could be rude in some situations, but it's just casual. It's just the casual way of saying what. If you say more by itself, just be careful of who you're saying it to. But it is used a lot in dramas to mean what? Like, what's up? Like, what's going on? What is it? What are you doing? Yeah, like that. So a couple more. 무엇을 샀어요? So, what did you buy? 무엇을 샀어요? What did you buy? 어디에서 샀어요? 어디 is where. And now remember, we have this 에서 particle because you're doing an action in a place. This is not the same particle as the 을을 particle, for example, because the sentence is a little bit different. 어디에서 샀어요? Where did you buy it? And, hey, hello, how's it going? And then the last one, 어떻게 샀어요? How did you buy it? Okay. Now I have a note here about where and 어떻게, because this is a very common mistake, and honestly it's a mistake that I've made myself when I first came to Korea. So let's look at how where and 어떻게 don't always match why and how in English. 어떻게 샀어요, yeah. Oh my gosh. So that's another thing. There's another word that looks very similar. 어떻게 versus okay, they sound very similar, but they're slightly different. This means like, oh my gosh, like, oh no, like how on earth, or what do I do? 어떡해? You'll hear that a lot in dramas as well. It's an exclamation you can say when you're kind of lost, you don't know what to do. You can say 어떡해, but it's spelt differently to this, which means how. So be careful with those two verbs. They sound basically the same, but they're spelt a little bit differently. Okay, so talking about where and 어떻게. So when you get to Korea, if you go to Korea, a really common question that Korean people will ask you is 한국에 어떻게 왔어요? 한국에 is to Korea. 한국 is Korea. To Korea, how did you come? 어떻게 왔어요? 오다 is to come, and in the past tense, it becomes 왔어요. So this thing literally means, this sentence means, how did you come to Korea? But if you say that in English, you might think that the answer is, oh, I came by plane, because they're asking you, how did you come? But this is a situation where this does not mean how, it actually means why. So when you say 한국에 어떻게 왔어요, what you're really asking is, why did you come to Korea? Or what brought you to Korea? Something like that. The person is not asking you about your method of transportation. It's asking you, like, how did you end up coming to Korea? So the reason that this exists is that it feels a little bit politer. So if you say 어떻게 왔어요, it's just a little bit more polite than 왜 왔어요. If you say 한국에 왜 왔어요, it's kind of similar to English actually. If you'd be like, why'd you come to America? It maybe is a little bit funny, right? It's maybe too direct, too blunt. You might instead ask, what brought you to the US? Or why did you end up coming to the US? Instead of, why'd you come to the US? Yeah, exactly. So we actually do a similar thing in English as well. And just be aware that this exists in Korean too. So if a Korean person asks you, 한국에 어떻게 왔어요? They're asking you, why did you come to Korea? Even though they're using 어떻게. So I have made that mistake. Someone asked me 어떻게 왔어요? And I said 비행기로 왔어요. I came by plane. And of course, it's just a little bit funny. If you want to ask specifically, how did you come? If you want to specifically ask about their transportation, you might use the 로 particle instead somehow. Like by what method of transport did you come? Something like that. 한국에 왜 오게 됐어요? I think so. I'm not a native speaker, but that looks good to me. Using the que 되다 form to mean like how did you end up doing something? So I think that's fine, but I'm not a native speaker, so I'm not sure. Not 100% sure, but looks okay to me. I would understand what you're saying. Okay, so if someone says 한국에 어떻게 왔어요? You would say something like 한국어를 배우고 싶어서 한국에 왔어요. So I wanted to learn Korean. 한국어를 배우고 싶어서. 한국어를 배우다 is to learn. And then the 싶다 is to want to do something. And also is because. So because I wanted to learn Korean, I came to Korea. And I bought this book on Amazon. Well, technically, I helped write it, so I got it sent to me from Amazon. But, you can buy it on Amazon if you would like. So, and the incorrect answer would be 한국에 비행기로 왔어요. I am not Korean. My pronunciation is not perfect. I am not a native speaker. So if you say 한국에 비행기로 왔어요, this is a grammatically correct sentence in Korean. Grammatically, the sentence is fine, but it's an awkward response to the question because they weren't asking you about your transportation. They wanted to know why you came to Korea. Okay,